Welcome to this 6-part video series where we will be exploring the concept of humorous learning cultures. This is the first video in the series considering why we should focus on humour and learning. So the question here is, why humour? Why is it important to focus on the concept of humour within learning and within education? Humour is a fundamental part of our everyday lives and is a shared characteristic of all cultures across the world. We enjoy the playful, humorous interactions that we have with others, and we actively seek humorous stimuli in a variety of forms. Humour can act as a social lubricant and has also been associated with improvements in a number of cognitive functions. However, humour gets very little attention within the education sector. It's rarely mentioned formally in educational policies, and it gets little active, intentional consideration from teachers and school leaders. So I've created this video series to try and encourage other education professionals to think more seriously about the socio-cognitive benefits that humour can provide within a learning environment. I'd like to turn to one of the main reasons why I started to become interested in this link between humour and learning. What do the following people have in common? All of these people share two main characteristics. They are all professional stand-up comedians or comedic actors, and all of them at some point in their life have either worked or trained to be teachers. And this happens to be just a small selection of people that I've found who have experience working as both professional comedians and teachers. And if you consider these 15 people to be not a strong enough link to justify a connection between humour and teaching, here are another 24 examples of ex-teacher comedians. And if you're still not convinced, here's another 24. And if I still haven't got you, there's another 20. And this is by no means an exhaustive list. And it's not just teachers becoming comedians. We also have the reverse happening, where famous comedians use their public comedic platform to educate people about particular topics of interest. Two prominent examples that could be taken from the UK is Stephen Fry, who is generally just a wealth of wisdom on anything that you might want to know about, and Robin Ince, who tries to raise public awareness around the promotion of science and scientific thought. So these links between humour and learning, where we have teachers becoming stand-ups and comedians and comedic actors using that platform to educate people and using humour as a tool and as a medium to achieve that, was the main thing that generated my initial interest in this topic around humour and learning. But it raises a number of questions for me. Why is teaching such a common profession for comedians? Why are the two professions of teaching and being a stand-up comedian so closely linked? How are people that use humour to communicate information more effective in that communication and able to influence and change people's perspectives more effectively? These are the questions I'll be looking to address in my own personal research and across the rest of this video series. A couple of months ago I spoke at an online education conference, and I ran two polls at the start of that session asking these delegates to consider their agreement with two statements around humour and learning. The first poll I took considered the statement, "Humour is important for learning." And I asked the delegates, do they agree or disagree with this statement? I received 193 responses to this. And you can see that the majority of teachers were undecided. However, when you look at the teachers that did decide to consider whether they agreed or disagreed, there was more tendency for teachers to agree rather than disagree that humour was an important part of learning. The second poll I took at this conference was around the statement, "I regularly think about humour within my lessons and school." This is more around teachers considering whether they actively, intentionally, consciously think about humour and the role it plays within their lessons and within their school. There were 186 responses to this poll. You'll see that similarly there are a number of teachers in the middle here that they neither agree or disagree with the statement. But where teachers were then making the decision to consider whether they agree or disagree with this statement, overwhelmingly there are more teachers disagreeing with the statement about them actively thinking about humour within the context of their teaching and learning. So the basic conclusion that can be taken from these two polls is that educators, on the whole, tend to value humour in some way within their learning or within their school. However, educators do not consciously think about humour as part of an important element of their learning and their classroom practice. I hope you enjoyed this video on humorous learning cultures. As mentioned, this is one video in a series of 6, so please check out the next one here or link in the description below for the full series if you wish to watch all of those videos. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bloody like button. Also, any comments are welcome below. My name's Jonathan Sandling. Ta-ta for now.